Hey guys, how's it going? It's Etanius here. Welcome to episode number 38 of this NHL 22 Quebec Nordiques relocation franchise mode, where we've moved the Arizona Coyotes up north to Quebec City. If you guys have missed episodes up to this point, head up into that top corner. And if you do enjoy this one, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and show your support by leaving comments, as well as turning on notifications. So, last episode, we went through the Stanley Cup playoffs and had a run to remember, but a run to learn from, because while we were able to knock out Pittsburgh and Toronto with ease, we struggled with Columbus, coming back somehow and winning that series again. It was insane. We probably shouldn't have been able to do that, but we did. And then we lost to the Seattle Kraken in the Stanley Cup final. And when we look at that Seattle team, man, it was a team that we probably should not have lost to. Just looking at this group, it's rough. They don't have that many crazy players by any means. Yeah, we shouldn't have lost to this team, and we did. So that is just the way it is. That's factual. That's what happened. But looking at this Quebec Nordiques team, we've got these two franchise centers in Bedard and Taticek that are going to lead this team forward for hopefully years to come. They are both amazing players, and it's really just going to be a matter of time before we're able to win with this group again. I mean, obviously, we have gotten 2 Stanley Cups already throughout this series, one in 2027 and one in 2029. So that would have been our 6th and 8th years of this franchise mode, and then we haven't won a cup in the last 3 seasons, going into 4 now, even though we did finish 2nd place in this last season. So that's where we're at. That's the group we're dealing with, and we do have some comments to get to here. So, Kaladin said that Columbus game was surreal. Then the Seattle game was the opposite of surreal. Definitely just got robbed. I found that with default sliders, the game can be this brutal sometimes. He said, great run with this team, though. I'd be bouncing that goalie. I don't think I'd be able to look at him straight ever again after a performance like that in the final game. Better luck next season. So, he's saying bounce Mike Djordjevic, which I don't know if we can do. Reason being is that Mike Djordjevic did win the Vezina this year. Yes, he did kind of choke it out there for us over that last game, but come on, it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. There's so much pressure. He won 41 games throughout the season. He was fantastic for us and just couldn't get us across the finish line. So I think the only thing we can really do to make this team any better is maybe go out and try to acquire, another defensive prospect or player that's going to help this team immediately. Because looking at Byron Brewer, he is definitely up for trade right now. Had 78 rated at 26 years old. We will be looking to move his contract because it just doesn't make sense. Harvey Biggs shot up like crazy as a offensive defenseman. So maybe he's a player that we eventually promote over the next season or 2. He is our best defensive prospect in the system right now, apart from a guy like maybe Raphael Tremblay, who, again, just didn't really get it done in Halifax this year. So that's what we're looking at. That's kind of where this team's at. We do have an off-season to get to here in this episode, where hopefully we're going to kind of be able to turn things around. Obviously, our number one goal here is, again, just to acquire some good prospects without, really trading the bank or anything for them. Looking at the draft class overall, there isn't really a defenseman that I'm looking at that's like, oh yes, this guy is immediately going to make this team better. So instead of trying to go out and acquire players in the top 5, top 10, whatever of this draft, I think we're just going to kind of stick to our picks overall. I do want this Lasarte guy. That might be one player that we do actually trade for, and maybe we could try to acquire a defenseman in the process as well. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. It's an interesting draft class coming up. We've got some players that I need to scout still before we get to it, but that's where we're sitting right now with this team. All right, so as we advance here, obviously, new salary cap, pretty basic stuff going on here, but I am just going to kind of simulate up a little bit further, get some more scouting done, and then we'll get to this draft. All right, and for the lottery this year, we're going to see Nashville win that franchise player. Ottawa's going to move from 10 to 2, so lucky them. Tampa Bay, Boston, Florida, pretty much every team that was below 10 moves down. So that kind of sucks. Minnesota lands Vancouver's pick there in the top 12, so not bad at all, but we also did not reach some of our owner goals, which, happens every now and then. All right, so something else I don't think I actually showed you guys after the last episode was the awards and the player awards and what happened there. So looking at this, obviously, Seattle, Columbus, and Quebec were kind of the team award winners. Patrick Laine won the Art Ross this year, as well as the Hart. Adam Fox wins a back-to-back Norris there. McKinnon wins another Lady Byng. That's interesting that he's excellent sportsmanship, because when you actually watch Nathan McKinnon play, he does throw some cheap shots every now and then. But Davis wins the Calder for Carolina. Jordan DeMay wins the Conn Smythe somehow. Don't ask me how. Mike Djordjevic wins the Vezina for the second time in his career, so that's pretty impressive. He also wins the Jennings. Again, just insane. Chaika wins the Masterton. Coburn wins the Jack Adams there for Pittsburgh. Hopkins wins the Selke. Laine wins Lindsay, and Karkner wins the Rocket this year. All right, so as we get into the draft coming up here, I do want to just show you guys kind of the prospect list we're looking at, and I seriously doubt that we end up trading up for another defenseman or anything like that, but this draft class coming up looks really, really solid, so this is what we're looking at. I have no doubt in my mind that most of these guys are going to pan out. This Ladd guy looks extremely interesting for a 6'5" center, so we're going to try to be picking him up. I think we might actually have to acquire a pick to get him. Maybe. Yeah, I think we might have to. But apart from that, we're not going to take every single one of these players. Some of these guys might not get picked, but just looking at where our picks probably should line up, which is one off from, 32, because there's no expansion team. We just relocated. So one off from 32, we should be able to land most of these players. So don't get me wrong, a franchise sniper like Cole Wesley would be pretty insane. We don't need that, though. There's just absolutely no reason to go out and get a guy like that. Apart from that, this team is in pretty good shape. I do believe we actually traded away our own pick. Yeah, I think we did. So we're going to have to, if I want that Lasterte guy, which I do, I think he's going to be good. He's got lots of X factors too. So if we want this Lasterte guy, we got to go out and trade for him, which I'm okay with, because I'm going to see what we could potentially pick off from another team here. So let's get into this draft, see how it treats us, see if we can make some trades and moves, and go from there. All right, so first things first, we got to look at the draft class, or the retiree class. We're going to see some huge name retirees this year in Scheifele, Barkov, Pasternak, Zibanejad, Point, Hopkins, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins finally gets a Stanley Cup. That's pretty exciting for him. But Landeskog was the last guy there with over 1,000 points. Lots of big name retirees in here. I don't know if we're going to see any of our own guys retire, but goalies are going to see Saros, Bennington, Hill, and Lankinen kind of as the main goalies there. And, well, looking at Quebec City, we are going to see absolutely nobody retire, so that's all right. All right, so we're going to simulate up to the draft. As far as the trade block goes, I think the main player we actually need on this trade block right now is none of the guys that are up there, but instead, oh my goodness, look at these two. Bedard and Taticek look so good, but apart from that, the guy that kind of needs to be on the trade block, in my opinion, is definitely Byron Brewer. I know he's injured, but yeah. He's just a really expensive contract, and with this team's current cap space and situation and everything that we're working with, because you look, yeah, we have $9 million in cap space, but you look at all of the expiries coming up, and some of them are going to be real expensive. So, like Harry Holt, three-ish million. Olofsson's going to want $5 million because he's been playing top minutes. Beta's actually going to be really nice and cheap, which is good to see. But Byron Potty could be a guy that we potentially trade away to here. I know he's been a really solid forward for us, but he's unhappy, so I think that might be a move that we go with here. Apart from that, both our goalies are expiring, which isn't going to work for me. Desharnais is actually looking really good. Like, really good. So, maybe we give him more games. Yes, Djordjevic did win the... Djordjevic has won 2 Vezinas, and he's 26. I personally think we should hold on to him, but if he wants a ton of money, you know what? 7.7 million for 8 more seasons is actually a really good deal. So, I think we're going to be able to get him cheaper than that. Apart from that, Desharnais, as much as I want to keep him, I just don't think we can afford to. So maybe that's where an extra defenseman kind of comes in here. But then again, yeah, I don't know. This team is just in such a good spot still. And yes, Olofsson's going to be $5 million or so. And a couple other players are going to cost us money, but I like where we're at. This is going to be an interesting offseason and draft and how we're going to manage this. So let's get into it. As much as I don't want to have to move players, we're probably going to have to, and nobody up before pick 17 wants to trade. I'm okay with that. Even like Colorado doesn't want to trade pick 31, so maybe we go with Anaheim here. Just see what we can find for pick 21. I know 21's kind of off the board from what we were looking at, but I don't really care about trading up a little bit further. As long as a team actually wants to trade, Brewer and Staubitz for the 21st overall pick is not bad at all. Peverly, Nickerson, and Staubitz is a bunch of our AHL team. We're not trading Olofsson. We're not trading Muldean. I highly doubt we're trading Tim Bodie. So the trade I would most like to make would probably consist something more along the lines of this. So let's go, instead of Staubitz, because Staubitz is a decent deal for 2 more years. He's 6'4", he's a huge defenseman. Yes, he's pinch and shoot, which does kind of suck, but he's also not $4.75 million. So I'd like to move Staubitz, and the other player I would like to move is, again, our extremely unhappy, but pretty good player in wherever he's gone here. I can't find him. Byron Potty. Okay. So I would like to move Byron Potty. And then the last player I would like to move, I think, is going to be Desharnais, even though technically he's the better goalie. We still have Earl Bembridge coming up. Bembridge is a 6'2" goalie. Desharnais, yes, he's 6'4", he's a little bit bigger, but I'm not too worried about that. When Bembridge is able to put up 40 wins with our AHL team in Tucson there, I really do not doubt his ability. Desharnais was also able to put up 40. He put up 49 wins with Tucson in just his second year. He put up 54 wins the year before that. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do with these goalies because there's too many good goalies here. Do we dare make the Vegas mistake and trade away the Vezina winner? It is possible. As much as I don't want to do it, I think we might have to. Anaheim would be over the salary cap. Makes sense. Do they have any big name guys that are expiring? Jeremy Swayman, who we would just drop. And then I have a pick in here too that I don't really want. That just doesn't line up with any of my prospects. So that pick would be pick 159. All right. So pretty big trade going through here. It's not going to go before Nashville picks, but that's okay. Brewer, Potty, Djordjevic, 159 for 21, and Swayman. I think that'll be all right. And how good? Yeah, Cole Wesley is a very, very good number 1 pick here. Maybe they want another defenseman. That might actually be what the issue is here. So if I do go and toss a guy like, I don't necessarily want to toss a guy like Staubitz in there, but when you look at all of our defensemen, obviously most of these guys are in the NHL, and the ones that aren't are like borderline there. So maybe Pavel Semin, again, he never really developed into the player that we were hoping for, but Seth Staubitz doesn't really fit the system either, unfortunately. So Maybe we do move Staubitz. Go those 3. They don't really want the goalie, I think, is actually what the issue is here. So, Bembridge is expiring too. So maybe we do sign an $11 million goalie tandem. I think that's going to make this team better, and I think we do make these moves in an attempt to try and keep that going. But, okay, move 159 in this deal, and then I literally just want pick number 21. I guess we could request a second round pick next year from Anaheim too, simply because this is a huge deal. But is this really the trade we want to make? I don't know if it is, but at the moment, I'm just going to try to do this deal without Bembridge. If it doesn't go through, that's okay. But if we have to add him, it's not the end of the world either. All right, too far off the table, so let's toss Bembridge in here. It's the only goalie they want. They don't want Staubitz. They don't want Walensky or like a whole bunch of the other guys. So, does it go through with an elite goalie in there? That it does. Finally. Okay. So, we get that pick number 21, which again isn't exactly where I wanted to pick, but that's okay. Again, this draft class is pretty sturdy looking coming up here, so I do still think Lasarte is going to be the player that we go with over a whole bunch of these other guys, even like Lebedev or Dietz. Oh, Dietz might actually be pretty decent, actually. Hold on a second here. Is there any chance we actually need Dietz over like some of these other forwards? The thing is, Wilson Dietz could come and play for our team immediately as a US-born player, which would be really nice. So maybe we do go with that. I know we have a lot of left-handed defensemen, but that would give us another defensive prospect to fill voids that'll come up in the future when this team does start to develop them, based on the fact that certain players are just going to cost us too much money to extend. So maybe that is the play. What X factors does he have? Stick him up and shut down. Okay, so it's not guaranteed, but like Lacerte's 3 years out potentially versus Dietz is now or coming up very soon. That might be the move. So let's go over to pick 21. I think we are going to take Dietz. But apart from that, the draft's looking pretty sturdy overall. Chip Chura looks really good. Eleniak, Chung, top 5, again, all elites except for Wesley, who's an insane franchise player. Looks really, really good. Glenn, Malone, yeah. Talk about a solid forward group in this draft class. So we're going off the board. Is Guit any good? Not really. I don't think he's going to be anyways. So, alrighty. Lebedev, nope. We're going to go with this guy. Leadership ability, heavy slap shot, shutdown ability. Wilson Dietz looks like a legit player to me. So let's see how he turns out. And he is indeed a 75 rated two-way defenseman. Okay. In reverse, yoink. Maybe those will develop more, but I do like how he looks as a player, logging heavy ice time minutes, 23 minutes a night is really solid, and all right, I'm okay with that pick. All right, so as we head over to our next pick, which is now going to be pick number 63, we can go back and take a look at who else got picked here. The main names I'm looking for are Lebedev and Gray was pretty good, but Lacerte was, Lebedev was a power forward. 75 rated as well. Looks really good. And then Lacerte's got the X factors, which Calgary will very much enjoy in the future, I'm sure. Apart from that, nothing too crazy, but our second round pick has to be the not high elite goalie, sorry. I'm thinking, no, I'm not going with Landon Pan. I'm going with, where is he? He's off the board, but going with Pat Montoya because he's guaranteed medium elite. And then after that, like right after that, we're going to go with Bradley Costy. So, yeah, there's players in this draft for sure. But Pat Montoya, we have to go with. He's 56 rated. Okay, so not spectacular, but again, has the potential and play style to develop into an NHL level forward eventually. So, hopefully that will be the case. Apart from Pat Montoya, who else is an elite player, or at least a decent player in here? Svitov. Nice. Marcus Svitov is a very good player there for Ottawa. And Stromberg, great elite goalie for San Jose. So yeah, not too shabby there for some draft picks. Moving on from that now, and not great. Not a great second round overall, apart from the few players that we did see that actually hold potential. But after that, we are going to go with Bradley Costy. At 100, we're taking him at pick 92. Again, not really a big deal. The player I'm actually more excited for is right after him here in Shane Ladd, who is a 6'5" unit of a... Is he going to be a power forward? He might be a power forward. But anyways, we're going to go with Bradley Costy first, and then Shane Ladd after. So, go with Costy. He is a 50 rated high elite goalie. Not bad. 19 years old though, so good potential, but we'll see. And then 2 picks later, we are going to go off the board yet again, and we are going to select Shane Ladd from the Winnipeg Ice. He put up 87 points in 66 games. He looks legit. Let's see how good he really is. And he's a 65 rated low elite. Ooh, loaded on X Factors too. Okay. So keep an eye on Shane Ladd. He, pick 95. Pick 95 is not bad at all for a player like that. 65 rated too. He is the second highest rated player we've taken in this draft, and he is at the end of the 3rd round. So this draft is looking good. I'm really impressed with that. Shane Ladd, what a pick. Oh my goodness. Okay. Looking into round 4, and Brown was like the highest rated player and kind of highest potential player at a high backup, which is pretty sad. So, on to pick number, what are we at, 127? I mean, Kolosov, I don't think we can really miss on. Again, I have him pinned because he's scouted fully and he is elite. So let's go with Timofey Kolosov. I know we just picked a goalie. Do I really care? Nope. He's an elite goalie. We're going to be able to use him as a potential trade piece later, or maybe as a prospect. Tulipov, not a bad pick there for Carolina. And round 5, well, we'll see if it was a hit or a bust. So far, it's looking like a bust. Burnett was not bad. Pressburg, again, not bad. And yikes, round 5, not very good. Okay, that is why we traded out of it, is because I didn't see any players that we really needed in there. So, pick number 174, and we're going with... I have Cavosari pinned. Is he the guy we want to go with? Potentially, because I don't think there's really a whole lot of potential left in this draft. Yeah. Unfortunately not. I don't want a 20-year-old Schroeder or a 19-year-old Koivunen. I'd rather go with the 18-year-old in Cavosari. I know he's not the greatest system fit, but we're going to go with him, take a risk on him, and he is a 52 rated low elite. Not bad at all. Okay, so potential development piece. If not, he just gets released from the team and the roster eventually, like we just renounce his rights. But all right, pick 191. I'm not going with Elbelin. I'm going to go with Hornquist. All right, so we are going to go with Magnus Hornquist here, and he is a 51 rated sniper, as my dog is just barking her head off in the background. All right, so I'm just simming the 7th round. I didn't see prospects that I really wanted in there, but I think it's safe to say we could say that was a pretty elite galore draft, based on the fact that everybody from Montoya on was elite. Like Dietz, yes, sure, he's a medium top 4, but he's very much NHL ready as a defenseman at 75 rated, so we will see if he can actually push that envelope and that status to become one of the Nordiques defensemen here in the future. So, as we get into this, obviously we got the re-sign phase that we got to deal with. Our associate coach in the AHL expires, so again, shouldn't really be a big deal there. As far as scouts go, we've got about 4 of them expiring, so not a problem. We'll get them signed up, and then we will get on with this re-sign phase. Alright, so Magnus Olofsson is the big name that we do have to re-sign here today. We do have some UFAs as well. Obviously, Bedard and Taticek are not the most ideal names to be hitting free agency, but we're going to have a lot of those guys to deal with here coming up. Like, oh my god, look at this group. Oh, this is going to be a rough one. So we got 19 million in cap space. Again, that comes from making some of the trades and moves that we did, but we're going to try the rule of 85. Obviously, this team just about won the cup this previous season, but all right, a $5.525 million contract. It would be $4.7 million. If we can get Magnus Olofsson for $4.7 million for the next 6 years, I will take that. That would be a fantastic contract. All right, 85% of $4 million is going to be a $3.4 million contract. Again, we got to save pretty much every penny we can with the upcoming group of free agents on this team. Gabriel Weimer, we will sign for 1 season. I think he's worth it. Enroth, oh yeah, he's worth the 2-way contract because, again, the 2-way contracts don't exactly affect our overall cap space, which is good to see. Elliott should be fine. Markov should be... Oh, okay. Vladimir Markov doesn't actually want to stay with the team anymore. You know what? That's okay. We'll clear up a roster spot with that. So let's release him. Markov's gone. Ebbett and Biggs need re-signing as well. And Harvey Biggs, I'm actually really excited for. I think he's going to be a good, solid defenseman here in the future for this team. Great puck skills. Could potentially run a power play unit for us or something along those lines. Along with that, we will sign Kreider, we'll sign Dietz. Get some good defensemen here into the AHL, and hopefully Tucson can really be dominant. Amrit Walker didn't do all that spectacular, unfortunately, for Sioux. So that's unfortunate, but we got to deal with it. Chase Reed, for a 2nd-round pick, actually looks like a pretty decent 2-way forward. So we'll sign him up. We got to sign Daniel Gagne up now because he put up 82 points last season in Charlottetown. So we will get him a contract here too, and we are going to be starting to kind of max out our limit of players that we can sign here. So that's unfortunate because we have a lot of guys in the kind of expiring stages of their contracts here. Alex Swift, yeah, he's a 7th rounder, but he's a 6'4", 195-pound sniper. He's huge. Noah Buckley, again, was a 6th-round pick? Yeah, he's a 6th-round pick, so nothing crazy special, but 61 points in 67 games would be a pretty decent prospect in just about every other NHL prospect pool, except for ours, because that's just how we are. So let's advance a day here, see how our roster spots shape up, how our cap space shapes up, because we got Djordjevic and Desharnais here as well, who are going to be so expensive. All right. 4.05 million would be 3.45. That's doable. 3.45 for... Yeah, okay. 625 would be a 6.48 or $6.5 million contract for Djordjevic. All right, so we'll offer that. We're not going to offer Sam McFarland an extension. He can go for a walk. We will offer Knights a contract. Frederick Knights should be good. And then we'll have Atkinson, Wolinski, and Knights as our 3 goalies in the AHL. Defensive-wise, I think Gabriel Weimer is going to be the guy that kind of gets the call-up or the option to play in the NHL here this year. We'll see. Supre I would like to sign too, but we'll, again, see if a roster spot's even available or not. I would, again, like to sign Alex Swift, but we'll see. So, Vincent Chevry doesn't sign with the team, unfortunately, but we do get our scouts. We get Beta, we get Biggs. Djordjevic doesn't sign. Elliott Goalie does. Same with Gagne. Desharnais rejects. Kreider signs. Olofsson rejects. Weimer signs. Enroth signs. Dietz. Holt. Abbott. Nickerson. Reed. Knights. All right, so we got a lot of our guys, but not all of them necessarily. So the goalies were kind of the main ones. So how much money do we have? 17 million. Let's offer 3.75 to Desharnais for 1 season. Djordjevic, we're going to offer him 7 for the next 6 years. All right. Apart from that, Olofsson wants 5.5 pretty much, so we're going to offer him 5. And let's see if those are enough. So we do get Magnus Olofsson. I don't know if we get the goalies, though. We don't get Djordjevic. We don't get... Yeah, come on, goalies. This is brutal. Like, I know you guys are one of the many reasons this team has done well, but that's brutal. 7.25. Come on, Djordjevic. That's the best you're getting here. And... okay, looks like 7.25 was enough, and what do we offer? 4 million for Desharnais. Like I said, we're going to spend about 11 million on a goaltending tandem here, which is a bit ridiculous in my opinion, yes, but we got to do what we got to do with this team. It's just the way it's set up, and it's what we got to deal with. So, all of our expiring guys remaining comes out to a perfect contract spot, fill, whatever you want to call it here. And we shall sign them up and potentially trade them off, depending on the free agent group that comes up here. So let's get to the free agency here for 2032, and then we'll set up the team and wrap up the episode from there. We do need a new AHL associate coach as well, because ours expired. So I guess we'll go with... let's go with Wilson Rammer. Why not? All right, so our trade block consists of, again, we're not trading Desharnais for that 1 season. I'd rather trade a big contract in a goalie like Djordjevic if he doesn't have as good a year as Desharnais, but yeah, free agency really isn't all that spectacular this year. Kelly Boyer's still kicking it around in the AHL, 55 points. How do you not grow from a season like that? That's unfortunate, but a lot of these guys are kind of in that boat as far as they probably should be better, and unfortunately they're not. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. Byron Potty hits free agency. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, hopefully somebody signs him. I mean, technically we could sign him, but we just don't have the roster space. And goaltending-wise, interesting group again. Dominic Card is a Quebec goalie for sure. Morozov is a good Colorado goalie. And, all right, not too shabby there for free agency. Of course, again, we cannot touch pretty much any of these guys because there's no reason to. So, that's the team. That's where we're at. Let's get to the next season. That's a nice quick free agency. And let's see how this roster is looking and if we can potentially contend for a repeated visit to the Stanley Cup Finals for this upcoming year. All right, and the team's looking like they're in good shape here as we've got 97% of our season tickets sold heading into the next year. All right, so our primary goal this year would be to be within the salary budget, $1.5 million. Interesting. Okay, and then they think that we could compete for 54 wins this season, so that's a bit of a tough goal, but... so guys, this year, as you can see, we're looking at a pretty solid team. Yeah, we're looking good here. Right now, like 4 guys are sitting on ridiculously low morale, which I don't know exactly what the reason for that is. Like Lars Lander, he's a 25-year-old top 5 pick. He should be really good, and he has been really solid for this team, but I just don't understand why he struggled so much last season, so we're going to put him in pretty much the same third-line scoring role that he was in, and hopefully he can figure it out. DeAndre Thompson as well as Kubina are, again, a bit of a weird one. I want to keep Ian Crane up this year just because he looks really good. I think he's going to be able to help out our fourth line there just fine. And, well, as far as the system goes, we have good players down there too, but the real issue that I'm kind of dealing with is just having an extra defenseman up in the system. So at that point, I do think Peter Kubina is going to be the guy that comes down from the system because, again, he's just so much lower rated at the moment. So we'll make that one roster move, and I'll show you the lines. So, guys, this is the NHL group we're going to go with this year. At the moment, Bancks is getting paid $12 million, so that's an easy contract to potentially move and get rid of if we are struggling to pay guys like Bedard and Taticek. And, God, Taticek looks amazing. Like, 5 stars across the board apart from 4-star physicality, which, again, he's getting up there still. His aggressiveness, strength, and everything is strong. It's just not as high as it could be, and he's 5'8", so that doesn't help. But shooting, puck skills, senses, defense, skating, all are just insane. He looks so good for a 20-year-old player, but the rest of the lineup's really, really solid too. I decided to put Cali Fast with Bedard and Bancks again because they're both 5'11" players, and Fast is 6'5". So same kind of situation with Thoresen, and of course Tamarnas, Lander, and Holt would be our third line there. Lander, again, his morale's just... His coach satisfaction is good, but overall morale is just, again, he just has to perform better. That's really it. Apart from that, Tamarnas, Holt, those guys all look really good. We have Maldin in on the third line, which is kind of causing the chemistry lack thereof. But again, it's okay. It'll still work. And other than that, it's all +5s across the board on the forwards. On the defense, yes, Weiman, again, is the same kind of situation. It's like individual performance and management are the only issues with him there. At a 24-year-old defensive defenseman, he's going to jump right back up and be fine. Playing alongside Makar, they get a +5, and then we have Bouwmeester and Olofsson along with Weiman and Legault. They all look really, really good. Wyman's up to an 89 overall, so we've got 2 89 rated, like, top 2 defensemen role players here, which is great to see. The goalies are both really good too. Desharnais and Djordjevic, those guys should be able to dominate the league this year and hopefully win a Jennings and a Vezina. Special teams look insane as far as I think we're going to play it like this. I know it looks a little bit strange, but we're going to play what I'm going to call the death line on the power play, as far as we've got 2 5-star shooters. Well, I guess Bedard's actually 4.5, but he's still just so electric offensively that he's going to be able to set up and pass and make plays like that and create space with his speed because he's got 99 speed and acceleration. So that combined with Lander's 90 face-offs, which is the best on the team without a doubt, and then Bancks and Makar on that first power play, it's going to be insane. We've got Fast taking the face-offs at 79 rating there, which isn't bad. I mean, Harry Holt somehow actually has better face-offs than Fast, so maybe we do that. But I do find that a bit strange still. But anyways, +5s on both power plays, +5s on both 4-man power plays. I do think I am actually going to change this up a little bit more, as far as we're going to put Makar and like Bouwmeester in here. Maybe Makar on that. Okay, does this not... Okay, that's a little weird that the 4-man power plays both have to be forwards. They shouldn't have to be, but they are. So we'll go Bouwmeester on that first unit then, I guess. I guess that works. Apart from that, maybe we go like this instead and play a guy like Silvegaard or Bancks or somebody else with Taticek. Okay, I like that a bit more. That looks really solid. And then the PKs 5-3 and 3-0, unfortunately, just because we don't have another defensive kind of defenseman. But that's the group. If you feel like pausing the extras, they're pretty straightforward again. Feel free to do so and just take a look. But that's what we're running with right now. And again, this team, man, this team is just so good. Like, there's just so many good players on this team that are going to hopefully lead us to another Stanley Cup here, because again, there's no real doubt in my mind that these guys should be contending for a cup, if not, like, right there winning a cup. So that's the team. That's what we're going with. The AHL is okay. It's not spectacular this year, but we do have a +5 line there with Hacken, Patterson, and Daniel Gagne. And Daniel Gagne looks actually really good for a 20-year-old. So we'll see if he can develop this season or not. Lots of pretty decent players throughout this team here. And Harvey Biggs looks really good. Skating and puck skills are his strong suits for sure. So we'll see if he can develop into a bit of a staple defenseman for this team in the future. We have Atkinson and Walensky in net. Again, both good potential goalies and could eventually make this team. We did end up trading away Bembridge, which, it is what it is. But special teams probably could be better down in the minors, but again, it's the minors. They're going to have a good shot at contending with this lineup anyways, because it's just stronger than most of the minors lineups down there. So that's what we're working with. That's the team, and that is where we're going to wrap this one up. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to go down below, drop a like on the video, subscribe, and hit notifications, and also make sure to leave a like and leave comments and do all that good stuff. But that's it for me. This is Etanio signing out, and until next time.